Hello and welcome to the Bowling University studio from the International Bowling Campus in Arlington, Texas. This is the Profit Break. If you're joining us for the first time, we're glad you're here. Give us 15 minutes and you'll be well on your way to improving yourself and your profitability. You know, if I told you there's a category of revenues in your center that has increased 300% since 2019, would you want to know more? Darn right you would. Our guest today is Kurt Moody of Patrick Henry Creative Promotions. Kurt is going to talk to us about the fastest growing category in all of adult beverages, non-alcoholic sales. Kurt is a subject matter expert in beverage operations and training and is a frequent speaker at BPAA educational events such as the Profit Break, Edupalooza, and Bowl Expo. Today, Kurt is going to provide a preview to his upcoming Bowl Expo session, How and Why to Sell Non-Alcs. Kurt, welcome back. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me. It's good to be here.
So let's jump right into it because there's a lot to cover in a short amount of time. First of all, let's make sure we're all on the same page. What is non-alcoholic beverage and why is it something that we should pay attention to in our centers?
Well, it's rather simple. Non-alcoholic adult beverage is anything but water. In our industry for years, it was anything that wasn't water: coffee, soda, tea, hot tea. As those categories have grown and evolved, now it includes spiritless products, non-alcoholic beers, non-alcoholic wines, the dreaded term of a mocktail, and really taking items that were once used both culinary and at the bar for cocktails and alcohol sales are now being utilized in a non-alcoholic platform to create, agua frescas, flavored lemonades, and really the whole gamut of the guest experience that they look for in cocktails, beer, and wine with no alcohol.
Without the alcohol. Yeah, and so it's not like it used to be. It really is all-encompassing and something that's much more appealing from what I've seen. So, let's go back a little bit. In some of the conversations you've had with us, you've talked about the innovation curve and how it impacts the beverage menus. Where do non-alcoholic beverages fall on this curve, today and moving forward?
Well, that innovation curve is really something we utilize when we look at menu offerings and where to develop. And thinking that the very smallest part of that innovation curve are the innovators, are the first to markets. And then as that curve gets bigger, you get into early adopters and mainstream. Non-alcoholic adult beverage is really in the mainstream to the late adopter. So we're already past the midpoint, highest saturation point of that innovation curve in adult non-alcoholic beverage. This means it's in almost all casual dining to fast casual concepts. It's no longer, your coastal Miami, New York, your West Coast, Vegas, LA. This is not a niche category anymore. This is something that is on Main Street America and should be already in our centers. If we're looking at a beverage menu in this category, it doesn't mean I'm going to have 10 mocktails on a menu. At the end of the day, non-alcoholic adult beverage is still a very small percentage of your overall sales in the food and beverage category. The difficulty is it's the fastest growing. You said it in the intro, 300% increase in sales over the last 4 years. It's expected to grow to $30 billion by 2025. It's one of those items that is a small piece of the pie, but it's growing at a rate faster than anything else.
So it's much more mainstream and something certainly we should look at doing in our centers. What is, and I just, from what I mentioned before, what's the difference between today's, NA beverages and brands and previous years? What's the difference?
Specifically, it's the change in the ingredients and the products. That's kind of a change in consumer behavior, that it used to be the only thing non-alcoholic that you would offer at a bar would be an O'Doul's or a Sharps, one of those non-alcoholic beers that, let's be honest, didn't really taste like beer. It was just a flavor extension for those who either were doing dry January back in the years that it was brand new, or maybe they had a alcohol problem in their past or a sensitivity, and to fit in, they drank a non-alcoholic beer. There weren't many options. Now you have options across all flavors, across all social lives, across all demographics. It's kind of a perfect storm right now of limited or moderate alcohol consumption. There's some product authenticity or brands that have stories. And then you have a younger millennial to Gen Z guest base who are finding social reasons and social groups to not drink alcohol. In the non-alcoholic beverage category, we call these the sober curious consumer. And again, it's a small percentage of your consumer, but it's also what we would consider the vocal minority. They align with other demographics that we know well in our menus of vegans or plant-based proteins to gluten sensitive or gluten intolerant. And we have options on our menu that fit these categories so that that vocal minority that's growing exponentially has an option. It should be the same thing within our cocktail or beverage program, that we give those people an option that fits those brand stories and brand experience within our center.
Yeah, you know, it's funny you mentioned the old NA beer days, because I remember having to have those on the menu. We didn't sell any of them, but you had to have them. You know, it was a best practice just in case. You know, so but now it seems like it's morphed beyond that to where it's something that's appealing and customers also actually want it. So that being said, how do you get in? How does a center get into that category? And so when they are introducing an NA beverage, does it have to be a new innovation? I mean, how do they get into that? What do they do?
It's kind of a similar route than if you're building a new cocktail program. The first thing is going to be looking at who you are as a center. You know, if you're burgers and pizza, you're probably going to have a non-alcoholic extension that's probably flavored teas or fruit lemonades. You're probably not going to a spiritless gin and tonic with a burger pizza concept. The other thing is to look at what your competitors or centers around you are doing. Look at large experiential family entertainment centers. Look at your large restaurant chains. See what they offer both from a fruit and or base. A lot of times to get into the adult in a beverage space, you're looking at something that either is a soda or a club soda base, a lemonade base, or a tea base. And then you're looking at seasonality of flavors. Is it something that I can do a strawberry lemonade during the spring, a watermelon lemonade during the summer, and maybe a apple cinnamon or peach come fall? The adult in a beverage space needs to shift in seasonality just like you would your culinary or your full alcohol cocktail program. The other place where you can look at it is these are things that are common no matter you're a wet, dry county, city, or state. You can go into grocery stores and just look at the fruits that are on sale in the season. Look at your lemonades and fruit juice aisles. Because it's an extension of food sales, not necessarily alcohol sales, there's a lot more creativity and knowledge out there.
So it sounds like it's not a set it and forget it program, but stay up front with the seasonality and things of that nature, which fits perfect for our business because we have a lot of repeat business. So wouldn't it be great to have something new and exciting each time they come back to try? So I love that. What about kids? Is this category important for the kids that come into our entertainment centers?
Oh, it's huge. You know, you think of large brands in this world like Disney or Six Flags, they capitalize on the kids' beverage sales. There's in the alcohol world, we talk about the female at the table or the mother, the matriarch of the table being the power player. If I can get a wife to order a glass of wine first, now all of a sudden the husband or friends or of age children will buy a glass of wine or a beer or a cocktail as well. In the non-alc world, the kid is the power player. So what can we do to enhance that kid's experience to where they, when they want to go somewhere for a birthday party, when they want to go somewhere for a family event or a family out night, that they remember your center. Think of what you can do with a fun cup. Think what you can do with straws and colors and fruits. Candy extensions is huge. This is something that even the fast food world capitalizes on. When you look at Sonic putting Nerds and Pop Rocks and other candy add-ins into their slushes, yes, there's still a father out there that's 40 years old that will have one or two of them every now and then, but it's really built for that high school aged or younger version of that word mocktail. It's items that might already be in your system. It's dessert items that can go on top of a lemonade. It's an easy extension of what your daily stock of fruit or bakery or whipped cream or candy might be. The other way is things that aren't even part of the drink, the straw, an umbrella, a fun little garnish or tchotchke. Think of what we give away at some of our redemption centers within certain centers. It's little spider rings and fangs, plastic fangs. Things like that can go into seasonal kids' drinks that elevate the experience and make a kid really kind of be the pusher power player, and parents having to, cave in to the screaming kid who wants the lemonade the blood orange lemonade that has plastic fangs as a garnish.
That is a great advice. I never thought of that, utilizing the redemption center for drinks and as a garnish, if you will. That is great advice. I love it. And we have a lot of kids, so it should help us out. All right, we have time for one more question. Center starts NA beverage program. Okay, how do they measure the success other than, I've got a week of sales behind me and here's the data? How do they measure success moving forward?
So one of the biggest things, like almost all menu offerings, is when you look at a non-alcoholic adult beverage program or a kids beverage program, is give it time to actually show you results. Too often we see people add in a beverage program or a new element, and 2 weeks later, 3 weeks later, they just say this doesn't work, or sales aren't giving me the lift I wanted to do. A good beverage program, a good menu change is going to take 8 to 10 weeks to see what a consumer insight or consumer behavior becomes. So give it time. The other thing is, don't be stuck into an emotional decision. Let the data, let the sales drive you. Too often we get people who's like, well, this is what I prefer. Well, as you prefer as an operator or owner is completely different than what your guest or your sales are telling you. The other thing is be adaptable. It's got to be something that isn't set in stone. Don't make a flavor extension of a lemonade into a mocktail and then not be willing to change that flavor extension. And then lastly, it's got to be launched with training. It has to be launched with team member and front of the house staff and manager buy-in, and explain to them on what this does to a check average. We see that almost 78% of people who buy alcohol, what we call tiger stripe, or they go back and forth from non-alcoholic beverage to alcohol beverage. So it's truly any consumer that you can train your staff to sell these non-alcoholic adult beverages to.
Wow, that is great advice, and something I think our centers would probably appreciate dearly, sitting in on your session to get some of this advice and start up a program. So, as always, Kurt, thank you so much. I know you've just given us a small taste of what you're going to present at Expo, but great advice. Thank you.
Thank you for having me. We look forward to it.
Hey, if you're ready to stop leaving money on the table and start successfully selling non-alcoholic beverages at your facility, then do not miss Kurt's session at Bowl Expo in Denver on Wednesday, July 3rd. If you're ready to start improving your center's profitability, you can reach us anytime at education@bpa.com. As we wrap up another edition of the Profit Break, remember that when your focus is on growing people, people will grow your business. This episode, as well as all previous Profit Break episodes, are available 24/7 for you and your team at bowlinguniversity.net. Plus, new episodes are available every month, so mark your calendar, watch your email, and join us on Facebook to hear about the latest episodes. Until then, I'm John Karabatsis, and do for one what you wish you could do for everyone. We'll see you next time.